Ever seen an interview that involved Russian roulette? Nicely done. You passed the test. Welcome to Team 5, the security captain announced. You've got guts, buddy. Aren't you afraid of blowing your brains out? The soldier retorted. I'm not stupid. I knew they were all blanks. What if I accidentally did kill myself? Then we'd handle it like we handled the last one. Action-packed movie premiere 2025? Jack Reacher is officially back. Join the special ops as they infiltrate a criminal syndicate, diving deep into a world of secrets and violence. Let's skip the fluff and get right to it. Jack grew up and worked in the military, constantly being deployed to different places. He barely had a life of his own. Now, he wants to live on his own terms, see the country with his own eyes. Currently, he's in Albert View, Maine, planning to head to a record store to sell some old vinyl. Suddenly, a pickup truck speeds down the street, slamming into a black Audi. The guy in the truck wearing a baseball cap quickly jumps out and smashes the Audi's window. He drags out a young man in a hoodie. Jack, witnessing this injustice, pulls out his gun to help. He shoots out the truck's tires and kills the cap-wearing guy, rescuing the kidnapped hoodie kid. Jack worries about backup arriving. He's about to drive the kid away when a man shouts from behind. Instinctively, Jack shoots and kills him. Unluckily, the guy was a police detective. He's dead now. Regret is useless. Jack quickly gets the hoodie kid into the car and takes off. Immediately, a police car gives chase. Looks like it's a school resource officer's vehicle. Jack quickly finds an opportunity to lose the cop car, while also going easy, deliberately slowing down to minimize the impact. He's already accidentally killed a detective. He can't take on the burden of another life. Jack drives into an alley, planning to switch cars. He picks the lock and slips into a new car, telling the hoodie kid to call a rideshare home. If the cops ask, just say he was too freaked out to remember what Jack looked like. The hoodie kid is scared of the kidnapper's accomplices and begs Jack to take him home. To prove his good intentions, he explains that his father is rich and will help Jack take care of the accidental killing once he knows that Jack has rescued him. Jack notices a scar on the kid's ear. The guy explains that 5 years ago he was also kidnapped, and the kidnappers cut off part of his ear to show how serious they were. Jack wipes his fingerprints off the old car. After some hesitation, he accepts the kid's offer. He needs the money. The hoodie kid's name is Richard. His father owns a carpet business, import-export, has been accumulating wealth for generations. At least that's what it looks like. Who knows what shady operations are going on behind the scenes? Richard lives in a coastal estate, guarded by a burly security guard, Paul. Even with the boss's son, Richard, in the passenger seat, they still have to get out of the car to get checked. Furthermore, the estate has tons of cameras and electric fences. For a carpet businessman, the security seems a little excessive. Just as the two of them enter the house, the head of security, Chet, arrives, announcing that Mr. Baker wants to speak with Jack privately. Baker is Richard's father. Jack doesn't waste time on formalities. He gets straight to the point, stating his needs. I need a place to lay low. In a few days, I need some cash to buy a fake ID, start a new life. Then Jack firmly grips the glass of whiskey, leaving his fingerprints, so Baker can get his real identity. Within minutes, Baker uncovers Jack's impressive background. West Point graduate, a metal record that would wrap around the earth twice. Baker is eager for talent. He naturally wants to recruit someone with Jack's skills, but he has a little test for the newbie, a round of Russian roulette to test Jack's courage and obedience. Having accidentally shot and killed a cop and badly needing a fake ID, he can only grab the gun and comply. He points the gun at his head, pulls the trigger 3 times in a row, startling Baker and his henchmen. They quickly welcome him to the team. I knew the bullets in the gun wouldn't be too powerful. They were blanks. What if I did accidentally kill myself? Then we'd handle it like we handled the last one. The head of security, Chet, takes Jack to a guest room, instructing him not to leave before morning. As soon as Chet leaves, Jack starts checking every nook and cranny of the room, making sure there aren't any hidden cameras. Then, he pulls a small cell phone from the insole of his shoe. Hello, I'm in. The scene shifts to a few days earlier. Jack is following an Asian man when a young pickpocket on the street distracts him. He gets sidetracked by educating the nation's future and loses track of the Asian man. He can only call Special Task Force 100 and ask them to track the Asian man's license plate, then heads back to his hotel. Unexpectedly, a female federal agent named Luffy shows up at his door, saying they're investigating a carpet company called Strange Bazaar. A few weeks ago, a high-level cocaine kingpin from Los Angeles flew to Maine, meeting with the owner of Strange Bazaar. The drug kingpin wouldn't fly 5,000 miles to buy carpets, so Strange Bazaar's owner, Baker, is likely the supplier for the high-level kingpin, involved in a large amount of cocaine flowing into the western U.S. The license plate Jack saw belongs to a car that drove Joker to meeting. The FBI flagged this vehicle in the system. When Task Force 110 helped Jack track the license plate, it immediately triggered a federal alert. That's why Luffy came to his door. They've spent a lot of time without finding any information on Baker, so they need Jack's help. However, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Jack asks Luffy to do something for him first. Check hospital records near the state of Virginia on or after March 13, 2012. Help him find an Asian American man, around 40 years old, with a head wound from a small caliber gun and injuries from falling from a height and drowning. Based on the description, it's the Asian man Jack had been following. Luffy acts quickly, immediately finding the Asian man Jack mentioned. He had washed up on a beach in South Australia. His injuries completely matched Jack's description. A beachcomber found him. It took doctors 6 months to help the Asian man recover. Luckily, the cold temperature slowed his heart rate, preventing major bleeding or brain damage. However, the Asian man claims he doesn't remember anything about the day of the accident or the days before. The county police checked his fingerprints, but there's no record in the system. However, Jack knows his identity. The Asian man is Lieutenant Colonel Francis Xavier Queen of the Defense Intelligence Agency. He supplements his income by selling military secrets to hostile nations. Special Task Force 100 has been trying to arrest Queen, but they haven't been able to get an arrest warrant. Someone deleted his records from the system. The county police obviously couldn't find any fingerprint data. He saw Quinn in Baker's car. Now he wants to find him because the two share the same goal. Luffy also reveals more information to Jack. Since Baker is like a ghost, impossible to get a read on, Luffy recently contacted an old informant for help. The informant is named Teresa. Years ago, her loser boyfriend tricked her into transporting a car full of cocaine. Luffy caught Teresa at the time and turned her into an informant. This girl is naive and innocent, nothing special about her. Nobody suspects she's an undercover agent. As a matter of fact, she is an undercover agent by nature. So when Luffy saw strange bizarre advertising for a secretary online, she immediately contacted Teresa to apply. She is responsible for reporting Baker's actions, but about a week ago, Teresa went missing. Luffy is very worried about this 20-year-old girl, so she wants to plant Jack in Baker's organization to rescue Teresa. That way, Jack can also catch Quinn and have it both ways. To approach Baker smoothly, Luffy and Jack planned a scenario: rescue Richard. The cap-wearing guy and the man who was shot are actually FBI agents. The bullets Jack shot them with are only blanks. With the movie props, create the illusion of what reason must be added to the step of shooting a police detective. Of course, it is to prevent Richard reporting to the police. However, blanks alone are not enough to convince others. Jack will mix a few live rounds into the 6-chambered gun. Then, before arriving at Baker's house, throw away the spent cartridges. In this way, not only is it guaranteed that Baker will not detect the difference, but you can also fire birdshot into the kidnapper's car radiator, create explosion effects realistic weapon. I don't like this plan. Using real bullets is crazy. If you forget how many shots you've fired, what then? When you point the gun at me or Elios, there may be a live round in the chamber. Jack has already thought about this, of course, so he uses a small knife to mark the 6 revolver. In this way, you can clearly know where the blank bullets start. If the plan is successful, must keep in touch with Luffy. At this time, the special shoes will work. The mobile phone is arranged in the sole of the shoe developed by the government, can connect to satellites without being tracked, and has a battery life of 14 days. The story comes back. Currently, I may already have a clue about that girl. Baker's head of security is carrying a tray of food. Going outside, probably to the carriage house. I think there is a secret underground bunker there. I will wait until everyone is sound asleep at 3 a.m., then come back and see right at 3 a.m. Jack climbs out of the back window like a gecko, climbs down to the first floor. He enters the stable and sneaks down to the underground bunker. Although he doesn't see Teresa there, he leaves an earring of hers along with half a tray of unfinished food. It seems Teresa has been transferred away. According to what Jack knows, 8 surveillance cameras are pointed at the only road entering and leaving the manor. However, the person transporting Teresa away will definitely hide her in the trunk of the car. Even if you watch the surveillance cameras, it is difficult to detect the target. Fortunately, there are no traces of blood or fighting in the basement. There is also a small bed, blankets and heaters proving that the person holding Teresa is not yet willing to let her die. After Jack reports the preliminary situation, preparing to go back to the room before the others wake up. As a result, I just got out and ran into a strange car. Baker's head of security is talking to the person in the car. This person asked to meet the person who rescued Richard. When Jack heard this, he quickly climbed back into the room. Seeing Jack about to go upstairs to open the door, Jack slipped and almost fell. Jack knocked on the door for a long time, but no one answered. Resolutely took the key and opened the door and went in. I only saw an empty bed and the back window was still open. Jack was about to go outside to call someone. As a result, the toilet bowl rang in the bathroom. Jack, wearing underwear, came out and asked what was going on. Chet told him to change his clothes and said we had discovered kidnapper's pickup truck. Police have taken it to a state-level evidence station, 145 kilometers south of here. There is a guy named Little Angel downstairs. He will take you to identify the truck. That way, we can find out who wants to kidnap Richard. Jack took the opportunity to put on his clothes, immediately reported this to Luffy. If they track the license plate, they won't find anything related to you. All vehicles are brought to the same holding lot. Why? Yes, why? So. Then it's a big trouble, because Richard's bodyguard's Audi is also there. Baker thought there was a grenade exploding in the car. That's right, the car should be full of the bodyguard's blood and brains. But in reality, the bodyguard was unharmed, only detained by Luffy. If they see that the car is intact, then the whole kidnapping story will collapse. Luffy cursed under his breath, said, I would go to the parking lot. Move the Audi before you arrive. But you have to help stall for time. On the way, Jack started talking to Little Angel. Why does this guy have a rough beard? But why is the nickname so feminine? Because my grandmother once said I was an angel. My grandmother's little one also won the most beautiful baby award at the county fair. Jack chatted and dug up information. Quickly realized that Baker was just a middleman. The boss of this gang of flower dealers is someone else. At the same time, Luffy and his fat colleague arrived at the parking lot, giving the reason inspect the evidence vehicle to enter and move the vehicle. But the Audi was blocked by a scrap car. If you want to move it, it may take some effort. Jack is trying to stall for time. Little Angel met someone like that for the first time. Just now, he was so flustered that he wanted to go to the toilet. Now I leisurely bought a cup of coffee as big as an ox and drank it. Jack didn't bother to pay attention to his complaints asked back. When we get to the holding lot, how can the police let us in? Little Angel? Calling it like this is disgusting. Just call him an angel and it's over. Angel said, just stuff $500 for the person on duty. It's easy to mix in. Night shift jobs like this. The police on duty will not miss any bargains. Fix is ambushing outside the holding lot quickly saw Angel's car. He immediately reported to Luffy inside. But at this time, the Audi has not been moved yet, because the car blocking it has a broken engine. Only brute force can be used to push it out. Angel leads into bribe police. Unexpectedly, this fat man on duty is quite honest. I definitely won't take money to let people in. Angel was about to draw his gun to kill someone. When Jack saw this, he quickly punched the police station. So the two people smoothly entered the holding lot. Angel finds the truck and records the license plate, but the Angel still saw the Audi. Fortunately, Jack moved the car next to it. Pointed out that this was not a license plate from the state of Man. Although the style and bumps were exactly the same, but in reality, it is not Baker's car. Jack casually made up a story. Said that those cars covered in blood like that will usually be kept in the yard. Temperature control to retain DNA evidence. Angel temporarily dismissed his doubts and left. Coffee is lying under the car, hugging the license plate. Breathed a sigh of relief. Jack basically stayed up all night. I just want to quickly go back to sleep. Unexpectedly, Baker came to arrange work as soon as he closed his eyes. Jack took Jack to a parking lot. Tell him to drive the truck according to GPS directions to a location in New London, Connecticut. Moreover, you must arrive within 6 hours. During that time, the rear of the car should not be opened. Luffy on the other side knew about it. Immediately tell him to choose a place to stop. Luffy will help pry open the truck. Jack warned to act quickly. Baker currently does not trust. I'm very likely to send someone to follow behind. Luffy opens the map and quickly finds the meeting point. Then Jack contacted one of his acquaintances, asked her to withdraw Bowchet and Angel's information. Just arrived at the designated meeting point. Jack then counted silently for a few seconds. Why should I delay a little? In case someone drives a car to follow me, I counted 72 seconds from when I drove out of this exit. Running at a speed of 80 kilometers per hour is exactly 1 kilometer. From about 2 kilometers, it is basically impossible to track. Although no real people are following, but GPS can see Jack's route of action. So the quickest way to pry open the lock is. Only saw the car full of carpets and cartons. Luffy has prepared to resign. She contacted the local police, led by a dog. The professional detected flour. But the car was clean and there was no flour at all. Nor the body of Teresa. Jack realized this delivery was a test. Without hesitation, he quickly gave the GPS to Vic Map. Tell the other person to drive away first. If someone follows, they will think the truck is left. Jack then stayed and sealed the lock. The two agreed to stop at the first rest stop. After the New London Highway sign, Jack sealed the lock and took Luffy to find Vic Map. In the meantime, Customs and Immigration sent a letter. According to statistics, inspection data from major ports around the world. You can know that Baker's cargo is inspected less than 10 times more frequently than other people. No wonder he has never been warned by Customs. Goods have also never been confiscated. It seems that Baker has bribed Customs officials. Choose which shipments he wants to search to keep a clean appearance. The two were talking and came to the rest stop. Confirm and get GPS quickly and run to the delivery point. When the consignee opens the car, he also pretended. Surprised and exclaimed why the car was full of carpets. The consignee put, give Jack a key, tell him to drive another truck back the same way. Unexpectedly, Angel was waiting at the old place. The mission at the holding lot last time, it still weighs heavily on him. First, Jack kept stalling for time at the gas station. Moreover, he took action to save Police Chica. Angel felt uneasy at the time. So I went to find the car that Jack connected to steal. But there is no scratch on the steering wrist. There is no insulation layer on the car cushion either, left by removing the wires. If you pick a car to steal, you will definitely leave traces. Just one look, and you know there is a problem. The sensitive Angel realized Jack was a policeman. That being the case, he only has a dead end. After all, only dead people don't know how to talk. Jack combined his body and stuffed it under the work table. Then went to find the gathering quality. Are you deaf? Why are you so late? On the way, Jack told Jack that the angel said he found some important clues. I want to call and report directly to Baker. Did he tell you what the clue was? Jack casually hummed and perfunctorily finished. As soon as he got out of the car, he went straight to the wash basin. Wash the blood off your hands. A babysitter ran over, said there was Roddy's detergent under the sink. Can remove all stains. Roddy is the repairman here. Always wash your hands covered in grease in the sink. When Jack heard this, he felt a little strange, because Baker's cars are all very new. The off-road vehicles in the garage also seem to be rarely used. Why hire a full-time repairman? Jack was about to continue exploring. Then Chet came and called him to meet Baker. It seems like Angel's voicemail box. There are unusual messages. Jack went to the office to answer questions. Fortunately, the content is not related to whether he is a policeman or is there a problem with the kidnapper's truck. License plate. The pickup truck belongs to a group that used to do business with Baker, but the appearance of the kidnapper described by Jack, it doesn't match the owner of the pickup truck at all, so either their pickup truck was stolen or a witness. Jack lied. Jack still insisted on his testimony. Also said that the highest possibility is that those who used to do business with him, because they want to expand their business, they have added manpower. Their kidnapping of Richard. Maybe it has something to do with his carpet business. They tried to kidnap his son. Now they are on the run. But they won't run forever. Will attack again. So before they take the next action, we must find and eliminate them. I can do it. But the prerequisite is, you have to tell me everything about them. Baker doesn't trust him and definitely won't say much. Evening, Jack's acquaintance found information about several bodyguards. The first is Paul was kicked out of the army for breaking the eyeball of the captain. During his imprisonment, prison was aggravated crimes because they tore off the fingers of the prison CAI with their bare hands. There is also the angel sentenced to 8 years for sexually assaulting a female lieutenant in the same team. Finally, the quality is indeed a blockbuster. From a kind policeman to a criminal lackey, past criminal record. It won't be over, even if I tell you for 3 days and 3 nights. Jack hung up the phone and called Luffy, requesting the other party park a car at the south of the manor at midnight. Almost 2 kilometers away from there. Do not lock the car inside. Leave a towel and clothes for Jack to change. Jack plans to sleep. A little while later will come to deal with the mess left by the angel. Just at midnight, he used his old trick again. Climb from the back window to the first floor, then go to the beach and take off your clothes and jump into the swim. This is the only way to avoid the electric grid and surveillance cameras. He found Luffy and the car and dried it. People change clothes. Then tell Luffy that Baker values his son very much. Still always clinging to that kidnapping case. The deeper he investigates, the more likely he is to find out about this as a hoax. We need to make him feel the kidnappers are no longer a threat. Of course, before that, the angel's body must be disposed of. The two climbed over the wall and returned to the scene of the crime. Luffy used the angel's fingerprints. Opened the laptop on the table. Changed the password number again. Then called Jack together to inspect the warehouse. Who knows if there will be any clues here. Unfortunately, after searching all night, I didn't find anything. They had to lock Angel's body in container number 13. Abandoned, then returned to the office to clean up the bloodstains. Unexpectedly, while cleaning up, a car was approaching. The driver drove the truck for Baker in New London. They just brought back the car that was taken away yesterday. Jack and Luffy couldn't attack these two people, because workers will come to work in a few hours. Even if there is only one bullet hole or a shell casing on the ground, Baker will know someone is targeting him. At that time, the first person to be suspected is the new person, Jack. The two drivers waited for a long time and did not see Angel appear. So I went inside to find someone. As a result, I saw bloodstains on the ground at first glance. Immediately after, Jack and Luffy attacked unexpectedly from the shadows, although you can't just shoot people at will but knocking them down with your hands. If not, it can still happen. Jack and Luffy killed them. The two drivers stuffed the body into container number 14 next to Angel, then drove back to the villa. Jack took the Angel's gun to defend himself. Coffee is in charge. Go back and check his laptop. The next day, Jack pretended that nothing happened and went downstairs. I found Baker and others' busy eyes are getting darker and darker. It seems that there is a large shipment that requires all employees to send troops. Unfortunately, the two truck drivers have mysteriously disappeared. When Jack heard this, he volunteered. Take the job and say I can take CA for 2 of them. But Baker told him to take Richard out for a walk. Jack had to take the young master out. Before leaving, I couldn't help but say a word to the bodyguard at the door. Richard reminded him not to anger this madman. Paul is a member of Julius Market. This Julius Markey is Baker's boss. Sure enough, the young Richard is easily hacked, took him into the store and then found an excuse to sneak into the toilet. Asked Dakfi to investigate Baker's actions today. At the same time, investigate the character Julius Markham. Unfortunately, there is not much information in Angel's laptop. Luffy plans to go to the dock to monitor the transportation. Currently, Jack has always been excluded from the core circle. He must quickly rise to become Baker's right-hand man. There is an opportunity to access more information. If you want to do this, you must have a vacancy. In other words, you must deal with Baker's confidant quality. Armor protects Dak-Fi using Angel's email. Send Baker a safe house address. Tell him that this is the last place the pickup truck owner appeared. This safe house must be separate from the electrical network. Public water is left to me. Armor hung up the phone and went outside. I found some kids bullying Richard. He hates these thugs. Directly took action and beat them to a pulp. Richard is very different from his father. He just wants to be a normal student. I want to escape from the family's dangerous business. When Jack heard this, he knew there was hope. Quickly extracted more useful information from Richard. Currently, Julius Markey is controlling everything. The bodyguard who picked up Richard from school that day. It wasn't to protect him, but Markey wants to hold Richard in his hands. Use this to threaten Baker to follow his commands. The person who kidnapped Richard and cut off his ear before, it's also Markey. Before this evil cocaine boss appeared, Baker was indeed buying and selling carpets honestly. But he is a very cunning person. To save cumbersome procedures during transportation, Baker used money to bribe dock managers. Customs officials unblocked the entire international logistics system. Mark K saw this and came to find him. Baker warily asked Richard if he had ever heard of Queen. He said he had never heard. See someone. Unexpectedly, Luffy was monitoring the truck at the dock. It happened to see Queen appear. It's just that Luffy doesn't seem to recognize him. Send photos to young Agent Elios asked him to check the identity of this person. Richard's bodyguard was kidnapped secretly. He overheard their conversation. She deliberately used the sharp thorns of the seat back to stab herself, asking Elios to help change the seat for another one. If not, bandaging the wound is also okay. Elios had to use rubbing alcohol for him. The bodyguard asked if I could have a cigarette. As a result, Elios refused. Only the bottle of alcohol was placed on the table not far from him. At the same time, Jack escorted Richard home. Baker and Chet rushed over. Said, "We have received Angel's email. I found the kidnappers. We will now go and eliminate them." Jack used the excuse to go to the toilet and quickly ran to the yard. After finding the hidden gun, then drive again as quickly as possible. Baker is indeed very worried about his son. Always instructing carefully on the way. Request: Jack and Chet to kill the kidnappers. No bones left. Taking this opportunity to send a message to the flower dealers. No one is allowed. Permit to touch his son. Jack approached the safe house. Before Jack, he pretended to look inside. The house lied that there are 6 people drunk from flour in the living room. When Jack heard this, he felt relieved and took the lead and rushed into the safe house. But there wasn't even a mouse inside. Jack pointed his gun at Jack. He originally wanted to ask about Teresa's whereabouts, but the material is very stubborn. Jack had to shoot him dead. Then picked up the gun and fired for a while. Create the illusion that there is a fierce battle inside. Finally, he slapped himself hard, then stuffed the pressure can into the microwave oven to detonate. Jack ran to Baker and told him to get in the car quickly. Baker couldn't help but, where did the quality go? Armor, faced without changing color, lied that there were 8 people ambushing us inside. The last one threw a grenade, like the one that killed Richard's bodyguard before Chet couldn't find a place to hide, so he was blown to death. Too dark inside the house. I can't see the faces of the kidnappers clearly, but one of them dropped the gun. After Jack finished speaking, he gave Angel's gun to the biker. This is the HKP-7. German police weapon from the year 70 is very rare in this country. Baker personally gave it to him. He didn't expect that the Angel would dare to betray him. Jack took advantage of the victory and said that I was fighting just now. I seem to have seen the 2 drivers under the Angel. They were the ones who exchanged trucks with me that day. Hacker was completely spun around by Jack's fire. Above is the story in Jack Reacher's latest episode. The value of a movie lies in its reputation. The value of a film review lies in feelings. Today's story ends here. Thank you for watching the movie. What do you think of this movie? Please comment below.